Have you ever walked into a room and felt every eye on you? Not because you shouted, not because you tried, but because you simply existed, and yet it felt like the room itself bent around your energy. That's the kind of presence I'm talking about. The kind that whispers power and confidence into every corner without a single word. Most women think presence is about how they look, what they wear, or how loud they can laugh, but I'm here to tell you. That's the surface, and surfaces get scratched. True presence is magnetic, quiet, and commanding all at once. It's a subtle dominance that draws people in without them realizing they're following your rhythm. I remember the first time I noticed it myself. It wasn't in some fancy ballroom or an Instagram photo shoot. It was in a tiny, dimly lit coffee shop, and I was sitting there, minding my own business, flipping through a journal, when a group of men walked in, all exuding confidence. And for the first time, they didn't notice each other, they noticed me. And not in a shallow, flirtatious way. They noticed the way I owned the space. The way I didn't apologize for existing. The way my calm and unapologetic energy filled the air like it had a scent. It was intoxicating, even to me. And that's when I realized, presence is not something you put on, it's something you are. The psychological trick here is fascinating. Humans are wired to follow energy, not words. When you radiate calm, unshakable confidence, your mind sends signals of dominance, security, and allure. It's why some women can be perfectly dressed in Zara and yet own the room more than someone dripping in designer labels. Presence is philosophy in action. It's Aristotle meeting Coco Chanel. It's the understanding that life rewards women who carry themselves like queens, not because they need validation, but because they understand their own worth, their own gravity. And the first hack I want you to internalize, because this alone will shift everything, is stillness. Not boredom, not detachment, but a kind of deliberate, unspoken pause in your movements, your speech, your breathing, that tells everyone around you, I am here, I am noticed, I am untouchable. When you walk into a room, move like you're sliding through velvet air, not rushing, not fidgeting. Let your eyes scan without urgency. Let your lips curl with the faintest hint of amusement, like you already know the secrets of everyone there. And yes, I know it sounds simple, but simplicity is lethal when paired with mastery. People can smell desperation, anxiety, and neediness a mile away. And the beauty of these presence hacks, they are invisible, yet they work on the deepest subconscious levels, triggering admiration, curiosity, and even desire without a single word. This is the kind of magnetic energy that men and women alike can't resist, because it whispers luxury, mastery, and mystery all at once, like an expensive perfume they can't name but can't stop inhaling. Now, imagine combining that with the subtle art of selective attention. Laugh when it's earned. Listen like they are confessing their secrets only to you. Tilt your head with curiosity, but never over-explain yourself. And suddenly, you are not just present, you are unforgettable. And while we're building this queen-level aura, here's a little philosophical spark. Lao Tzu once said, mastering others is strength, mastering yourself is true power. And presence is true. Intoxicating presence sees the manifestation of self-mastery in motion. It's not a skill you learn overnight, but a lifestyle you cultivate daily, with intention, with mindfulness, with quiet obsession over your own energy. The women who radiate without trying, they understand the power of invisible authority. They know the laws of attraction and influence at a level most never even suspect. And by the time you start practicing these small, deliberate hacks, you'll notice the subtle ways people lean toward you, the almost imperceptible shifts in how conversations pause when you speak, how spaces rearrange themselves subconsciously around your energy. And that, my love, is not magic. It is the science of human perception, and when you harness it, you command it. So before you think presence is about makeup, outfits, or even words, I want you to breathe that in. Feel your body, the weight of your own gravity, and realize the room doesn't need your permission. It responds because of who you are, because of how you hold yourself, and because you are unwilling to apologize for your light. Once you've tasted the power of stillness, the next level is energy management. And this is where most women fail without even realizing it. You see, being magnetic isn't about dominating every interaction or performing a role, it's about directing energy like a conductor with an orchestra. Knowing exactly when to rise, when to lower your tone, when to let the silence hum in the air. I remember a date where I literally said 5 words over the course of 2 hours. And yet by the end of the night, the man was entranced, leaning forward like my presence had carved space around him, molding his attention to me. It wasn't about teasing. It wasn't about game sit, was about energy alignment. Your energy sets the tempo for everyone else. If you're chaotic, needy, or over-eager, the room mirrors that. If you are composed, subtly amused, and aware of every nuance in the space, you are suddenly the center of gravity and people naturally orbit you. Here's a psychological hack. When you speak, anchor your words with micro pauses. Let your audience you're in dating. Your target fill in the gaps with their own imagination. Silence, carefully placed, is more persuasive than 1,000 words. Your energy becomes a story, an invitation, a challenge. People start chasing the meaning behind your stillness. And that's irresistible. Another crucial element is visual rhythm. You know those women in movies or high-end fashion campaigns who seem to float rather than walk. That's no accident. It's deliberate movement psychology. Slow, intentional gestures, controlled breathing, and a body posture that radiates subtle dominance without arrogance. When you master your own energy, your mood, your breathing, your gestures, suddenly compliments, invitations, and attention follow like clockwork. And luxury isn't just material, it's behavior. Luxury is knowing your worth, pacing yourself like a rare wine, never overexposing, never chasing. Remember, men and women alike are addicted to presence, not performance. And while we're on that note, let me tell you a story from real-life networking event in Manhattan. Chandeliers dripping like liquid gold. Every influencer and entrepreneur vying for attention. And there I was, leaning against the marble bar, holding a champagne flute, exuding quiet amusement. I didn't need to talk to anyone. People came to me, not because of who I knew, but because I radiated confidence, control, and a subtle promise of mystery. That's the art of presence in action. And here's a philosophical nugget for you. Nietzsche said, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." People are drawn to what they cannot fully define, cannot control, cannot predict, and that's what your presence does. It's invisible, yet impossible to ignore. It's like walking into a room and the air itself seems richer, heavier, sweeter because you are there, and that, my love, is the ultimate feminine power. Now, combine that with micro-psychological triggers in your interactions. Touch lightly, only when it feels natural. Smile just enough to hint at warmth, but never overextend. Speak in tonal shifts that hold authority, but invite curiosity. These are subtle dominance cues. Not aggressive, not demanding, simply commanding without asking. And yes, every woman watching this can start today. You can practice in elevators, coffee shops, online meetings, any space where you exist. Observe yourself. Where do your shoulders drop? Where do you shrink? Where do you let the energy of others dictate your pace? Then, correct it, adjust it, own it. Presence is not a static trait, it's dynamic, adaptive, alive. And here's the kicker. Once you start radiating without trying, your confidence feeds itself. People notice, react, and that feedback loop reinforces your mastery. And the moment you understand this, you'll never chase validation again. You'll notice people leaning in, trying to earn your attention, while you remain effortlessly sovereign, sipping your drink, holding your gaze, moving in a rhythm only you control. And oh, the thrill of knowing that you are the prize, the standard, the phenomenon everyone else measures themselves against. That's not arrogance, that's truth. And when you harness these subtle energy hacks, you'll find that even the most intimidating rooms, the most self-assured people, the most competitive spaces suddenly soften around you, almost instinctively, because you've mastered the quiet art of command. Finally, my sisters, let's talk about the crown jewel of presence, narrative control. This is where femininity, psychology, and philosophy collide into something dangerously intoxicating. Narrative control is knowing that every word you speak, every glance you give, every story you choose to share or withhold defines your gravitational pull. I can't overstate this. People remember how you make them feel, not what you actually say. There's a reason luxury brands don't sell products, they sell stories, emotions, and experiences. And presence works exactly the same way. I remember a conversation with a friend who was struggling to command respect at work. I asked her, "Do you speak first, or do you let the room come to you?" She looked at me blankly, and I told her, presence isn't noise, it's narrative ownership. Speak like you are the context of the conversation, not an add-on. And that, my love, is the essence of irresistible magnetic energy. Every interaction becomes a subtle dance, where you guide the tempo, create curiosity, and invite attention without demanding it. Philosophically, it's a bit like Plato's idea of the forms. People react to the essence of you, not the surface. And psychologically, it taps into human instinct. We are wired to chase patterns, meaning, and mystery. And when you give them a taste without ever revealing the full story, they can't help but orbit your energy. Here's a practical exercise. In any social or professional setting, notice where your energy goes first. Are you adjusting yourself to fit others? Or are you anchoring the room to your presence? The difference is seismic. And while we're leveling up, let's talk flirtation, not the shallow, desperate kind, but the elegant, teasing, subtly dominant kind. A glance that lingers, a laugh that feels like only they heard it, a question that hints at knowledge you hold without giving it away. These are the tools of narrative control. They are not manipulative, they are sovereign. They are the language of women who understand their value and refuse to negotiate it. Combine this with energy mastery and stillness, and suddenly you are a force of nature, a presence people can't ignore, a queen moving through life with invisible authority. And here's the final mindset that cements all of this. Your value is inherent. Your energy is currency. And your presence is an art. You do not have to prove, explain, or overextend. You simply are. And the world adjusts accordingly. So, start small. Notice the shifts. Experiment with your gaze, your tone, your pauses, your micro movements, and then watch as the room bends in your favor. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your biggest takeaway in the comments. I want to see which presence hack transforms you first. And remember, every time you step into a room, every time you breathe, every time you exist fully, unapologetically, knowingly, you are teaching the world how to see you, how to value you, and how to never forget you. That, my love, is the ultimate feminine mastery, the kind of energy that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. Radiate without trying, command without effort, own every space you step into, and leave people wondering how does she do it. And when they ask themselves that, smile quietly, because they've just glimpsed the power of a woman who knows her worth. Hand that, my sisters, is priceless.